Hope felt like a small dangerous thing. You held it in her chest like a hot coal. It burned, but she could not let it go. For days she obeyed the rules. She spoke only when spoken to. She kept quiet when guests passed her door, but inside her heart screamed for the street, for air that didn't belong to him. One maid Sojen watched you with softer eyes than the others. She had been quiet at first, serving plates and swing halls, but she saw the way you flinch when Taehyung passed. She saw the process and the way you hide her hands. Guilt pricked her. No one should leave like that. Sojin came to you late one night when the house was thick with sleep. She put a small paper in your palm. Alu's key, a time, a place. Back at 2 a.m. I will be there, she whispered, voice barely more than air. Her face trembled. You full body shock. She wanted to refuse, fear live in her bones, but the thought of running, of being outside while the rain fell, while she could breathe without him watching, with a certain dizzy dream, she noticed one tiny interference. That night she slept for an hour, pretending to sleep while her mind raced. Then she slipped from the room when the house signed. The corridor was dark and quiet. Her wrapped hand trembled. Her breath came fast and shallow. Every shadow looked like a threat at the back gate. Sojen waited, hood pulled low. The guard, who usually stood by the gate, had been paid or scared into leaving this post. You stepped towards the cold night with legs that felt like jelly. She tasted salt on her lips, all tears, all fear. 𝑾𝒉𝒆𝒏 mounted. Her fingers were like ice when she touched your wrist. Together they pushed the gate open. Freedom brushed around them. The air was sharp and real. For the first time in months, you felt the world move under her feet. She and Sojen hurried through LA's heart, loud in the night. The city smells of rain and oil and life. They reached the bus station, then the airport. Sojen's plan was simple. You would leave the country, a new name, new life. You had never imagined planes, passports, a world beyond Taehyung's shadow. Now the area was bright and blending. In the airport terminal, they moved between sleeping people and blinding screens. You pulse jumped. She kept her head down. Sojen's hand squeezed hers, a quick, kind pressure. They reached the check-in counter. A man in a dark coat stepped from the crowd like a star falling into a pond. He looked their part. Excuse me, he said. His voice was flat, polite, but his eyes were eyes. Yu's stomach dropped. She looked up and saw Taehyung. He had come for her. There is terror, and then there is a kind of terror that breaks everyone inside you. Your knees went soft. She tried to pull back, but Sojen stood like parent, steady and small. Leave her alone. Sojen sighed, voice shaking but loud. Taehyung's face didn't move. He was calm in a way that made people down. He looked at Sojen with a cold that cut. You help her, he said simply. Time stopped for you. She thought maybe he would take her, scroll the mat and leave. She tried to breathe. Sojen turned to run. Her feet pounded, but the young man was already there. A rough hand found her shoulder. She fought the way a rabbit fights a trap. Taehyung watched with eyes empty of pity. Then he stepped forward, and with a single clean motion he ended it. The sound was small, almost unreal. People around them screamed. There were shouting, phones, flashing lights. Eunice hit the floor, her forehead pressed against the cold tiles. Sojen lay still. The life had left her like smoke. Taehyung stood above them. Rain from the storm outside still dripping from his coat. His voice was slow and quiet, and he said, I told you, you belong to me. Cars run past by scattered. No one reached for Sojin, no one dared. The airport became a blur of movement and panic, and then a hard, terrible silence. He didn't look at you with anger. He looked at her as if he saw the truth. For the first time, his chest rose slow, steady at her. He said to a man beside him, "Two men lifted you," like she weighed nothing. Their grip tore at her bandage. She cried out, small and helpless, and couldn't see Sojin anymore. The world hand narrowed to the weight of his hand on her. They put her in a black van. The city sped by as if it had no heart. Her eyes were closed. Her body didn't know what to hold on it. She tasted metal and rain on her lips. Her breath came in shallow whistles. When the van stopped by, they were not at the mansion. They were somewhere cold and below. A concrete door opened. The man carried her down narrow stairs into a basement. That smell of earth and old dumped. The lights were too bright, too white. She woke up there an hour later, not knowing how long had passed. The body of Sojin lay near her, covered with a tin sheet. You screamed, tore out of her like a living thing. It was a sound that filled the room, and then that her legs failed her. She fainted. When she opened her eyes again, a silhouette filled the doorroom. Taehyung came down without a sound. He looked at her for a long time. He didn't rush to touch her. He didn't speak at once. Finally he moved. He lifted her with hands that were both gentle and iron. You clung to his coat as if the fabric could anchor her to life. She felt small against him, like a lost thing someone had found. He carried her up onto the mansion as if showing off his prize. They passed rooms that knew her name. Now no one stopped him. In her room, he placed her on the bed. He looked at her burn, at the cut on her palm, at the way her breath shivered. Then he did something that made her flinch. He moved the blanket over her. "You tried to run," he said, voice low. "You tried to leave me. You wanted to hate him." Her mouth moved, a small sound that could be a please or a prayer. "Please," she whispered, "don't leave me." Her words broke. She had no way to ask for anything. He breathed in close enough for her to feel the cold at the back of his throat. "You tried," he repeated, "and because of that I found who will try to take you from me." His eyes flickered hard and dark. "She's gone." Your stomach dropped onto somewhere. Her fingers stuck into the sheet until her nails hurt. Sojin's face came to her, kind and brave, and then the memory blurred with tears. He knelt down and placed his palm over her bandaged hand. The touch was gentle. It ran her. She flinched so hard she bit her lip. "You are mine," he said, simply, as if it were a fact of the world outside. The rain kept falling inside you, curled like a broken bird, and the mansion felt larger and cruel than ever. The small hope that had burned like a coal inside her had died with Sojin. A new truth replaced it, the truth that to him she was property, and he would break anyone who tried to free her. The night after the failed escape fell, Andrews sat on her bed, shaking the blanket pulled up to her chin like shield. Her eyes were shallow from crying, her throat edged from screams she hadn't meant to make. Every sound in the mansion made her flinch. The crack of a door, the distant footsteps of cars, the whispers of rain against the glass, the weight of Sojin that pressed on her chest like a stone. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw it again, the sharp movement, the stillness, the way no one had tried to save her. Yu's stomach twisted until she thought she would be sick. The door opened. Young walked in, calm and silent. He had changed into a black shirt, his damp hair falling over his forehead. His eyes catch hers, and she looked away quickly, her heart humping She wished she could disappear into the mattress. He stood at the foot of her bed, not speaking for a long moment. Then his voice cut the silence, low and cold. "You tried to leave me. You sheltered heart." Her lips trembled. I didn't. Don't lie." His word was sharp, merciless. "I give you food, a room, safety, and you run." Her body shocked. She wanted to say she had no safety here, that she lived in fear every movement, but the words will not come. Fear held her tongue hostage. Taehyung stepped closer. His shadow covered her. He gripped her chin, forcing her to meet his gaze. His touch was firm but not rough. "Still you flinch," like his hand was fire. "You think you can run from me?" he asked, voice low, dangerous. "You think I will not find you?" Tears welled in her eyes. "Please," she whispered. "I didn't mean you mean it." His tongue brushed her trembled lips. "But you need to learn. You need to understand." Her stomach dropped. The word punishment enjoyed in her head before he even said it. "You needed to be punished," he murmured, her whole body stiffened. "No, please don't." He tightened his head, studying her fear with strange fascination. The way her chest heaved, the way her small hand clutched the blanket, the way her eyes begged. His mouth curved into a faint smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Fear makes you honest," he said simply. He pulled the blanket away. "You cried out," curling into herself, tried to cover her body with her arms. Taehyung didn't touch her immediately. He just looked at her fragile form, her shaking, her desperate attempt to make herself invisible. Then he leaned close, his breath warm against her hair. "Look at me." She shook her head. "Look." His tone sharpened. Shaking, she turned her face towards him. Tears slipped down her cheeks. "I don't want to hurt you," he said, "but you force me." His hand slid down her arm, slow, deliberate. She flinched at every inch. Her heart raced so violently she thought it would stop. "I am sorry," she begged. I will never try to again. "Please." Taehyung's gaze softened for a fraction of a second, not pity, possession, as if her broken pleas were proof that she was his. He pressed her down against the mattress, holding her there with one hand on her wrist. His grip was not crushing, but it was unbreakable. "Remember this," he whispered. "You are mine. No one saves you, no one takes you, only me." Her sobs filled the room. The rain outside grew heavier, as if the sky itself was weeping. Taehyung bent close, his lips brushing the tears from her cheek. His touch was both cruel and tender, a punishment wrapping in intimacy. Your body froze under him. Every muscle locked, her innocence, her fear, her deliberate wish to vanish. When he finally pulled back, she was trembling violently, her throat raw from crying. He touched her hair, smoothing it if it calming a child. "You belong to me," he said again softly. "This time don't forget." Then he left her on the bed, broken and silent, her tears soaking the pillow. The door clicked shut. You curled into a small, clutching herself, rocking as if to smooth her own pain. The storm outside raged on. Inside, her world felt smaller than ever, her hope burned to ash. Taehyung had taken everything from her: freedom, safety, even the belief that she could escape. All that remained was his shadow, heavy and inescapable. And deep inside her chest, a truth sank like a knife. She was no longer just his prisoner, she was his possession. The door opened. "You flinched, your heart." She hit her shoulder against the wall. Her white eyes started towards the sound, heart racing. Taehyung stepped inside, carrying a tray. The smell of warm food drifted into the room. Ice, soup, bread. He set it on the beside table without a word. Her stomach twisted painfully at the smell, reminding her she hadn't eaten since yesterday, but fear tightened her throat, locking it. Taehyung pulled up a chair and sat across from her, his dark eyes fixed on her. He leaned forward, elbows resting on his knees, staring her like she was a puzzle. "You haven't eaten," he said simply. "You." Hugged her knees tightened, refusing to meet his gaze. He signed a quiet sound. Then he picked up the spoon, dipped it into the soup, and held it towards her ear. Her eyes flickered to the spoon, then back to him. She shook her head quickly. "No." Her voice cracked. Taehyung's jaw tightened for a moment. She thought his anger would explode again. But instead he leaned closer, his voice low, steady, dangerous in its calmness. "Do you want to die here starving, or do you want to leave? Choose." Lips parted, but no words come out. Her chest rose and fell in shallow breaths. She wanted to refuse, to push the spoon away, to scream, but fear made her hand shake as she slowly reached out. Taehyung didn't give her the chance to take it. He lifted the spoon to her lips. Herself she frozen, trembling, her eyes and elbow open. Tears stung her eyes. With a small whimper she obeyed. The warm liquid touched her tongue slightly down her throat. It tasted of salt and comfort, a cruel contrast to the man feeding it to her. Taehyung's gaze softened, but in a way that unsettled her. He fed her another spoon, then another, watching every movement, every shiver, every drop of fear in her eyes. "You need strength," he murmured. I won't have you fallen apart." But when you are, the last word cut into her like a knife. When the tray was empty, Taehyung set it aside. "You lean against the wall, exhausted," her body weak from both fear and food. She wished he would leave, but instead he stood and moved closer. She stiffened as he reached for her hair, brushing it gently behind her ear. Her whole body flinched, but his hand didn't stop. "You are so fragile," he whispered, "so breakable. That's why you need me." Her lips trembled. "Please, just don't." What? His tone was curious, almost playful. "Don't touch you. Don't keep you. Don't make you mine." Her breath hitched. She couldn't answer. Taehyung smiled faintly, as if her silence pleased him. He leaned down, pressing a kiss to the crown of her head. "You've frozen," her entire body turning to stone. "Rest now," he said softly. "I will be here."